Trying to fit in with the masses is the biggest waste of time because by definition, trying to fit in with everybody else makes you average. And if you're somebody who's watching these videos or these sorts of videos, then you're clearly somebody who thinks differently. You're somebody who wants something more for your life. You are trying to develop these perspectives that allow you to create a life that's more fulfilling and meaningful to you. Now, of course, you want to be accepted, right? I want to be accepted. We all want to be accepted by society, or at least by micro groups within society. This is a deeply ingrained aspect of being human. We got to fit in with others. We survive and thrive when with other people. Where the problem lies is that so many people are totally okay with pretending to be something they're not just so they can fit in. They would rather put on a mask of sorts and pretend to believe in the same things as other people and pretend to like the same things and have the same dislikes and have the same enemy just to make themselves feel better, make themselves feel like they're part of this group and that they belong. People would rather hide their personality and their skills and their interests and their hobbies and their values, and this will go on for years. And fast forward 3, 4, 5, or 20 years down the line, and the person that they thought they were is completely gone because they have essentially given their soul away to groupthink. They've tied their entire identity to whatever the group believes to be true, rather than what they believe to be true within their own heart. And when I say truth, I don't mean a right versus wrong perspective. I simply mean what is most authentic to them. People would rather disregard that. People would rather ignore that just to fit in. Many people are afraid to be their true authentic selves and do what they want to do and say what they want to say because they fear the judgment of other people. As I said, we want to fit in with other people. It's a part of our nature. But the interesting thing is that deep down, most people believe the same thing, but most people want to be authentic versions of themselves. And it might not seem like that's the case because when the average person sees somebody who's living their most authentic life, they're expressing themselves and saying what they want to say and doing what they got to do, however they want to say it or do it, the average person will be bitter and resentful. And they'll be like, oh man, I can't believe him. Let's cast him aside. Or let's cast her aside. Like, we don't want her to, like, people like that to be a part of the group. Deep down, these same people are envious. That hatred, that disgust, you could say, that comes from the average person when they're judging somebody who's being authentic, that comes from a place of spite. Because they want to be authentic. They wish they had the guts to do exactly what that person was doing. It's a very bizarre thing because we all know that it's in all of our best interest to be authentic and live out our version of the truth and live out our values and what we believe to be the most impactful way of living for ourselves. But because of groupthink and because of fear of judgment and these mass societal pressures that are coming down on us from social media and our parents and from teachers and from politicians, we cower it away. Well, we fear it. So we'd rather stay in place because it feels more safe and secure. When I was in high school, there was this kid named Evan, and I was friends with Evan. I have no idea what he's doing these days. I hope he's doing well, but Evan was one of the most authentic people I've ever met. He did things that were unapologetically real, and he didn't care what anybody thought about it. He was just doing what he believed to be the best thing that he could do. He was so authentic. He lived in accordance with his values. He made his beliefs known, and he didn't fear the judgment of other people, ever. He was so eccentric in the strangest of ways, but it worked for him, and he leaned into it because that was his most authentic expression of his true inner self. Some people disliked him, but most people loved him, and nearly everybody admired him because he had the courage to be disliked. He didn't care what other people thought. He was just living on his own wavelength. And from him, what I realized is that reality rewards people who are authentic expressions of themselves. Society might not always reward it, and that's because of these pressures coming from, as I said, parents and teachers and politicians and social media and everybody else. But reality itself, the way the universe works, is somewhat detached from society. It's on a whole other plane of consciousness, if you want to call it that. And when you're being real, when you're just being you, life itself just tends to work out in the strangest of ways. All this is to say exactly what I said at the beginning. Trying to fit in with other people is the biggest waste of time. Don't do it. It's not worth it one bit, because when you try to fit in with other people, then you start picking up the same beliefs, the same thought patterns, the same behaviors, the same routines as everybody else. And the average person does not like their life at all. I'm not saying not everybody doesn't like their life. That's not at all what I'm getting at. But most people are stressed out and unsatisfied and overwhelmed, and they wish they had more within their life. Obviously, your circumstances play a big part in your living situation. If you're born into poverty, or if you're born to parents who abused you, or if you are born with the predisposition to develop these terrible mental health issues, then yeah, there's only so much you can do. But the willingness to be yourself and to be authentic and not have this desire to fit in with other people will take you much further than the average person. Look, life is short, and the time is going to pass anyways. I look at my own life. I'm closer to 30 years old than I am 20. And if you're in your 40s or 50s or 60s, then you're probably watching this thinking, yeah, like, okay, dude, whatever, you're still young. But the truth remains, time will always go by, life always goes by, and you might as well use what you have, whatever resources you have at your disposal, to just live a life that is in accordance with your authentic self. Because why not, right? I wish I started living more authentically. I wish I started living without the fear of judgment and the giving a shit about what other people would say much earlier in my life. I wish I didn't wait till I was 25, 26 years old. But hey, this is reality. I encourage you, however old you are, whether you're younger than me, older than me, just start being more unapologetically yourself, all right? If you have certain beliefs, if you have values that you're not living in accordance with, shift your ways, because fearing the judgment of other people is only going to hold you back even further. And as I said, most people are not living in accordance with what they believe to be their highest version of the truth, or their goodness, or their authentic self. And most people are unsatisfied. So don't be like most people, okay? Figure out how you want to live your life and start, all right? At this point, I'm getting redundant here. This is already stuff that you know. Maybe you just needed a bit of a reminder. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for watching again. I'll speak to you soon.